you can count on us. This is 7 News Good Morning Fort Sill.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us for another round of military news.
Well, we got a great show today. Like always, a few things. One of the things that'll be interesting to talk about is the new grooming standards and policy that were updated.
Yeah, you're fired up about that.
The Army just released that, so we'll have some discussion about that later. But first, let's go ahead and over to the Weather Center. Let's talk with Michael. How are we looking at weather this morning?
Well, it's not bad out there right now. We're having mostly clear skies. Currently at Fort Sill, it is 68 degrees, and our winds are pretty calm out there. We're about 4 degrees below where we were this time yesterday. And as we look at your PT forecast, temperatures will be in the upper 60s, and then we'll be getting into the lower 70s as we get to around 8 to 9 a.m., mid 70s by 9 to 10 a.m. this morning with mostly clear skies. So it'll be mostly sunny for the beginning part of the day and then becoming more partly cloudy as we head towards the afternoon and evening hours. Pretty quiet right now as we look at satellite and radar, maybe a few clouds, spotty clouds in the area. Looking at our Jackson Memorial County Hospital Tower Cam, we're seeing mostly clear skies out there. Yesterday we had a high of 95 degrees, still above average for this time of year. And then as we look at elsewhere where we had our highs, temperatures, we had a high of 94 in Chickasha, 95 in Duncan, 96 in Wichita Falls, a little bit hotter in our southwestern counties, 97 in Frederick, 98 in Vernon, a little bit cooler off to our north with lower 90s.
Well, this marks a very special occasion for the field artillery, at least this week, for the field artillery and Fort Sill. After months of planning and preparation, so the original School of Fire officially opened its doors on September 15th of 1911.
Now, at that time, the staff and faculty consisted of only 4 men. The school's first commandant, Captain Dan T. Moore, was named in June of that year to help establish operations prior to the start of classes. Now, hundreds of thousands of artillerymen have been trained at the School of Fire in its 114-year history.
Now, the building still exists today on the old post quadrangle. Since then, Fort Sill continues to be the leader and innovator in the field artillery and the air defense artillery.
Well, just a reminder that Fort Sill MWR has country music artist Jared Neiman coming to the Patriot Club this Friday at 7 p.m.
That's right. The concert is open to the public. Tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the door. They can be purchased in advance, though, at the Building 4700 Welcome Center or online at sill.armymwr.com. And exciting news today, Kyle. So Fort Sill is actually going to announce what local artist is opening for that concert. That'll happen today. So no hints. I did talk with Ethan. I was texting back and forth with him briefly. He said they will make the announcement today. He wouldn't give me any inside baseball on this one. But so make sure you monitor Fort Sill MWR social media pages for that exciting announcement.
Well, September is Suicide Prevention Month in Fort Sill, as well as the Army Substance Abuse Program and the Religious Services Office are holding a workshop to help people struggling with mental health.
So the Fort Sill Pursuing Life workshop sessions will be held today at the Frontier Chapel Fellowship Hall. The workshop will be from 9:30 until 1:30 this morning. Well, Altus Air Force Base welcomed in their newest batch of senior NCOs. Team Altus honored the dedication, professionalism, and leadership of their airmen that they're stepping into the next phase of their careers.
Altus leaders say becoming a senior NCO is more than a promotion. It's a commitment to mentor, guide, and shape the future of the Air Force. Congratulations to everyone who was inducted. Well, the Air Force Office of Special Investigation is investigating an airman from Sheppard Air Force Base. The airman has been apprehended in connection to an alleged fraud case.
Base officials are cooperating with OSI as the investigation goes on. While details are limited at this time, more information is expected to become available when it will not compromise the integrity of that investigation.
Well, it's officially Navy Week in Wichita Falls. The event is held across the country every year to educate the public on everything the Navy does.
So this week is also extra special since it coincides with the Navy's 250th birthday. Sheppard is home to the Center for Seabees and Facilities Engineering Detachment for sailors stationed at Sheppard. Serving in the Navy has been a life-changing experience.
So it's honestly given me a one of the greatest sense of purposes of my life, and the advice I would give someone considering it is that if you really want to not only see the world, be challenged, and grow as a person or as a leader, in my case, you should absolutely consider joining.
Wichita Falls seems like an interesting place for an
I'm not going to lie, Kyle. Being a military guy, of course, in the Army, I had no idea that the Navy was on Shepherd Air Force Base. But there you go. Learn something new every day.
That's cool, yeah. Well, there will be plenty of opportunities in Wichita Falls to celebrate alongside service members. Tonight, there will be a ceremonial guard performance downtown. There will also be demonstrations at the Midwestern State football game this weekend.
Well, President Trump has given the green light to send National Guard troops into Memphis, Tennessee.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has reaction from local officials who are split on whether the efforts will actually drive down crime.
This morning, the green light has been given for the National Guard and other federal law enforcement to be sent to Memphis, Tennessee.
We're not going to allow this kind of savagery to destroy our society anymore.
President Trump late yesterday establishing a task force in Memphis to crack down on crime, similar to actions recently taken in the nation's capital.
The effort will include the National Guard as well as the FBI, ATF, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security investigations, and the U.S. Marshals, and more.
The move welcomed by Tennessee's Republican governor.
I'm tired of crime holding the great city of Memphis back.
But Democratic city leaders in Memphis calling the move unnecessary.
I'm certainly not happy about the National Guard. I am looking forward to trying to find ways to invest in the things that we're already doing to address crime in our city.
We shouldn't have to walk out the door feeling like we're in a militarized zone. That's right. This is not the Gaza Strip.
FBI figures show Memphis ranks first in the country in the rate of violent crime, but local officials report making progress, claiming historic reductions, saying the murder rate is at a 6-year low. Trump insists the city is overrun with crime and is vowing to take similar action in other cities run by Democrats.
We're going to be doing Chicago probably next.
Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Thanks, Nicole. The Pentagon's internal watchdog has finished their review of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's use of the encrypted messaging app Signal to discuss sensitive military operations.
Hegseth can now comment and give feedback on the Inspector General's findings before the final report is given to Congress in the coming days. A version of the findings will also be made public.
That review began earlier this year after The Atlantic revealed Hegseth shared information from his Signal account related to U.S. military operations in Yemen. Hegseth and his office have consistently denied he shared any classified information on Signal. Well, the U.S. Air Force has begun to modify the plane that was donated to the U.S. by Qatar earlier this summer.
That Boeing 747 is expected to be used for executive airlift support exclusively. Of course, President Trump has expressed his desire to use it as the new Air Force One. Now, details of what's being done to the plane and which company is actually making the changes, those are classified. The amount of time to complete the process has yet to be officially announced as well.
And we hope that...
Well, the Army has released updated appearance standards. Find out what changes they've made, as well as other news from across the forces when Good Morning Fort Sill returns.
This 7 News broadcast is sponsored by Southwest Buick GMC.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are. Here's your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Michael Amankwa.
And as we look at our current temperatures right now, we're seeing mid to upper 60s and lower 70s pretty much across most of Texoma. Currently, it is 68 in Lawton, 70 degrees in Wichita Falls, 70 in Chickasha and Duncan, 74 in Waurika, 72 in Vernon, 69 in Frederick, 68 in Altus, 66 in Elk City. Looking at our relative humidity values, anywhere between 70 to 90% across the area. A little bit of a drier pocket in our far southwestern counties. Winds are pretty calm, but they're generally out of the southeast, anywhere between 0 and 10 miles per hour. So our storm system number 1 that gave us some storm activity this past Sunday into Monday. Well, that's well up into Canada now, but we're watching this next area, and this next upper level disturbance will continue to make its way towards the central plains as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, and that will give us about a 40% chance of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Decent, good amount of rain is possible, but we'll continue to monitor as that trough will make its way towards the central plains by then. And then as we look at current conditions across the area, we continue to see maybe a little bit of some isolated activity, especially as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. And then that will continue to be the case. We will repeat that again as you go into your Wednesday, and then we bump up rain chances going into your Thursday.
Well, the U.S. Army announced an update to its appearance, grooming, and uniform wear standards policy.
So the new directive clarifies existing standards and establishes new standards as a reflection of discipline, professionalism, and a shared commitment to the Army's values. Some key changes include more precise definitions for hairstyles for both male and female soldiers, as well as cosmetic, fingernails, and jewelry.
So the directive also provides clarified standards for uniform and insignia wear and body composition assessments. Army leaders say there was an overwhelming need to realign all Army standards with warfighting priorities and eliminate ambiguity when it comes to enforcing standards.
Okay, so that's a little bit vague. What's this actually mean?
So what it actually means is they have taken, so a few years back, AR 670-1, which is the Army uniform wear, grooming, and standards and policy, it got kind of restrictive, or more flexible, excuse me, on a few things. Yeah. Now they've just tightened up the restriction. I mean, a lot of things like the 2 inches on the top of the hair for men, that's still the same. They've just tightened the requirement. Some things like the guys won't like probably is the 1 inch standard on the side. They've restricted ponytail wear on women. It used to be allowed in any uniform. Now they've now restricted it to the Army combat uniform and the fitness uniform. It's no longer ponytails are no longer authorized for wear with the dress uniform. So again, a lot of different things. Of course, a lot of people were cheering on for beards, and they clearly still don't allow beards.
Well, that's something we talked about, like, I think it was the first week of this show, was the beard issue and why they were not bringing it back.
That's come up for forever. Like the whole beard thing. They've actually gotten more restrictive on the beard policy right now, because we talked about it, like you're right, that first week of show about some of the requirements for basically a shaving waiver, stuff like that. So.
Well, the Army says they will be keeping nearly a dozen officer training programs open for enrollment, despite announcing plans earlier this year to downsize.
So U.S. Army Cadet Command says they will retain 10 universities that were set to close their ROTC programs by the end of this year. Schools expected to close will continue the program as an extension unit, meaning ROTC will operate with a different host institution that is located on a different campus.
ROTC is offered at roughly 900 campuses nationwide and commissions about 70% of the Army's officers each year.
Well, the Department of War is planning to acquire nearly 2,400 housing units in Guam.
So the island is experiencing a housing shortage as they prepare for an influx of thousands of new personnel. Guam, a remote 210 square mile island that provides a strategic foothold for the U.S. in the Western Pacific, is expected to grow from about 17,000 U.S. service members to 24,000 by fiscal year 2033.
An environmental impact report on the system noted that the limited availability of housing on Guam and the influx of troops would result in, quote, long-term major and significant impacts to Guam's housing market.
Well, still ahead, the U.S. has deployed F-35 aircraft in Puerto Rico as tensions continue to mount between the White House and Venezuela. We'll have more on your national military headlines when we return.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are.
Well, the U.S. military killed 3 people in another deadly strike in international waters around South America.
The attacks have provoked Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who accuses the U.S. of declaring war. Stefano Pozzobon has more from Bogota.
The Trump administration's announcement that it conducted a new kinetic strike against an alleged drug trafficking speedboat in the Caribbean Sea on Monday marks a new escalation in the military strategy to put pressure on the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, whom the White House accuses of personally being the leader of a drug cartel. Maduro has been indicted since at least 2019. However, he has repeatedly denied this allegation. CNN has asked for a reaction to Caracas about this new incident, and we're waiting to hear back. However, earlier on Monday, Maduro has this to say about the U.S. Secretary Marco Rubio, whom he accuses of being personally behind this military escalation.
Who? Marco Rubio. They now call him the Lord of Death and War. Wherever he goes, there is death. There are bombs. There are murdered children. Marco Rubio, the Lord of Death, War, and Hatred.
The Secretary of State is yet to respond to this latest attack from the Venezuelan leader. Caracas has repeatedly accused Rubio in particular of trying to build a case for an open confrontation, an open warfare between Washington and Venezuela. In recent weeks, Maduro has given signals to the White House that he is ready for negotiations with Trump, perhaps even considering a meeting in person with the U.S. president, while at the same time singling out Rubio. And Rubio, is worth noting that it comes from a constituency in South Florida where a lot of several Venezuelan conservatives, expatriates, have moved in recent weeks. So that's the reason why there is the singling out against the Secretary of State. It's yet to be seen whether the strategy from Caracas will be successful in trying to reduce this tension, but it's definitely interesting noting that at the same time Trump has not ruled out an even further escalation and actions directly on Venezuelan soil in the weeks to come.
Well, several U.S. F-35 fighter jets have arrived in Puerto Rico last weekend amid growing tensions between the White House and Caracas.
The move aims to increase the military presence in that region and that more similar actions are expected. Puerto Rican officials say they are committed to the fight against drug trafficking in the Caribbean.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro criticized Governor Jennifer Gonzalez for supporting the U.S. military presence in the Caribbean.
Well, Moody Air Force Base in Georgia has activated the 23rd Combat Air Base Squadron. Leaders say the new squadron marks a major step in the Air Force's efforts to modernize how it organizes, trains, and deploys.
The effort gives the 23rd Cabs everything they need in one central location that they can move to another location if need be. Moody leaders say that the Flying Tigers are ready to adapt and lead the future of air operations or Air Force operations. Well, a family from Pennsylvania is reconnecting with their late father thanks to letters he wrote during World War II. Jimmy Morris wrote letters to his parents while stationed overseas. However, those letters got lost in the mix and never reached their final destination.
Now, 81 years later, thanks to a postage collector from Massachusetts, they were able to recover them and read them for the first time. They said they felt like their father was right next to them as they read them aloud.
Oh my gosh. It's just incredible. You know, I feel like my dad's right here with me. Back in England now. I don't know how long I will stay. So write me anyhow. Your loving son, Jimmy. Hope to see you soon. Wow.
Do you recognize the handwriting?
Oh, I do. Give everyone my best regards. Lots of love, your loving son, Jimmy. When you look at the state of the world today and some of the things that are happening, like, oh, in a way, I'm glad Dad's not here to see it. But this comes at a time when I just feel like he's telling me it's going to be okay.
Well, an Army veteran in Colorado says he was at the right place at the right time to help an officer who had been hit by gunshots nearby. Former Sergeant Matt Harvickson was checking on his dogs when he heard an officer was down.
So he ran inside, grabbed his medical bag, and located the officer. From there, he was able to give him medical aid until EMS arrived. Harvickson says that the officers were the real heroes that night. He was just happy to be able to help.
EMS, fire, police, they're out here every day doing this, you know, day in and day out, thousands of hours a week amongst all of them. And, you know, they're the ones that deserve the recognition. And I don't want to take away from that because they're the true heroes.
The officer's family also reached out to Harvickson to thank him for his actions that night.
Alert forecast with meteorologist Michael Amanqua.
And a last look at your PT forecast. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 60s across the area with mostly clear skies. And then temperatures will be starting to rise into the lower to mid 70s as we go to around 8 to 9 a.m. And as we go throughout much of your Tuesday, it will be mostly clear for the first part of your Tuesday, becoming more partly cloudy as you go towards the evening hours. A 20% chance of an isolated shower or storm will clear out going into your Wednesday morning, and we repeat the same today again. And an isolated shower or storm is possible. We start increasing rain chances as you go into your overnight hours on your Wednesday into your Thursday morning, especially across our northern counties. About a 30 to 40% chance of widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, and that will continue to be the case going into your Friday. We drop it to about 20% going to your Friday. Going into your Saturday, we may have a little break in precipitation, only about a 10% chance. And then as you go into your Sunday, we may raise rain chances to about 20%. 93 for a high today with partly cloudy skies. Going into tonight, temperatures will be falling down to around 69 with partly cloudy skies. And as you go into tomorrow, we will have another chance of an isolated shower or storm with partly cloudy skies. As we look at your 7-day forecast, we continue to have temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s for your highs. And as we go into next week, isolated storm chances will continue.
Well, thanks for watching Good Morning Fort Sill.